Ooh, today I want to play a little bit of music in the background. Okay, turn that down just a hint. I hope that is a good balance. You can hear me and also hear music. When you're ready, we are going to start class laying down. You will want to grab some extra props today. We will do a few restorative yoga poses. And our first one will be a shavasana with some height underneath the knees. So whether or not you've got a bolster, you could always fold up some blankets or pillows or use a couch cushion. Maybe grabbing some kind of pillow or blanket for underneath your head. And just trying to get as comfortable as possible here. Arms might be out wide, or maybe rest your hands somewhere on top of you. Or maybe up and overhead in some way. I always like to tuck my shoulder blades together and then bring the arms out wide. It just works for me. As you settle, feel free to take a few clearing breaths, a few sighing breaths. You know, those moments where you're just like, don't know what to do. Or if you feel uncomfortable or in pain and there's nothing really you can do about it, the best thing I know to do is to start taking belly breaths. Start taking some elongated inhales, letting the belly expand in all directions, and exhaling. Even if there's a lot going on, we know we always need to breathe, and going right to those belly breaths feels like the right choice. I also like to do what I can with proper oral posture, breathing in and out through the nose, relaxing your jaw, sealing your lips, but letting there be a little space in between the biting surfaces of your teeth. Resting or gently pressing your tongue up onto the roof of your mouth. So as much of your tongue as possible is making contact with as much of the roof of your mouth as possible without straining. Imagining or noticing as your nasal passageways widen and clear. Each belly breath becoming easier, maybe even more enjoyable. Letting your shoulders soften. Relaxing your arms and hands, still breathing. Relaxing the belly, your legs and feet. If you would like to set a dedication or intention for your practice today, now is a great time to bring something or someone to mind. Take 3 clearing breaths in through the nose, out with a sigh. Feel free to make a little noise if you want, a little sound with it. In through the nose, out through your mouth. We'll stay in this restful place as we begin wiggling fingers and toes. Let your head rock all the way to one side and then all the way to the other side, gently warming up and loosening up your neck. Go ahead and keep turning your head from one side to the other. Next time you have your head kind of turned to the right, pause there. Feel free to take the right hand up and over and just kind of press or put a little bit of pressure or a little bit of pull on the left side of your head. You might feel some extra opening or stretch, some length through the left side of your neck. And then we'll switch sides, releasing, turning your head toward the left. And then this time, bringing your left hand up and over to grab, hold somewhere near the right ear, just gently pulling, stretching, lengthening out the right side of your neck. And releasing when you're ready. Let's take a long body stretch, reaching fingers and toes in opposite directions, circling out your ankles and wrists. All right. Let's start to turn onto the right side. You have props beneath you. We'll kind of move with them here. We're heading to the right side. We're going to end up a twist, a downward twist toward our prop. So put the right hip somewhere close to this. Your knees could be stacked one on top of the other or staggered. It might feel nice to get a block in between. Probably be better to have a pillow in between the calves. And then we'll start to twist downward toward your pillow or your bolster, taking a few moments in the upright position. And then slowly lowering your way onto your props. And you might notice that you want more height beneath you, so feel free to add a little more. I'm gonna get more underneath my head here. And for me, I like to kind of wrap my hands around the pillow and just kind of snuggle in that way. Go ahead and move your legs or your feet around if you want to try finding the right spot. Softening your face. Maybe keeping your eyes closed here. Seeing as this is a restorative pose, there's no need to look for a lot of sensation. Just kind of gently, over time, letting this twist unfold. And if you notice that you're holding or gripping through any muscles, see if it feels safe to relax those areas, or it might be a sign that you need a little more support. So do feel free to add any more supplemental props. And heading back into some mindful belly breathing. In and out through your nose if that's comfortable and available. That helps our bodies create more nitric oxide. Nitric, not nitrous. Nitric oxide. Essentially, it's more effective for our bodies to and beneficial to breathe through the nose versus the mouth. Every so often, re-scanning for any discomfort or tension that you can ease or soften. One more breath before switching sides. Eventually planting your hands or your forearms on the floor and slowly lifting yourself up off of your props. However, it feels best for you to switch sides, go ahead. I'm just gonna turn all the way around. This time, the left side, the left hip close to the props. And both hands on either side of your props. We're twisting toward the bolster. And when you feel ready, maybe lowering down halfway and rising back up, eventually making your way all the way down to this downward facing twist. And it might feel different on this side, so feel free to find a different variation. It does not have to be the same as it was on the other side. And maybe one or two more breaths before Starting to think about pressing yourself back up. No need to rush. This time we'll start to come onto the knees. Cat and cow here will be next. We'll keep our props close by. Taking your time eventually with an inhale, lowering the belly, lifting the gaze and the tailbone, cow pose. Exhaling, rounding up through the spine as you tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. Inhale, cow. Eventually, as you exhale to cat pose, we're gonna hang out in cat pose for a few breaths. So keeping the spine kind of pushing up toward the sky. Let your head relax and maybe kind of rock your head side to side here, letting gravity help you find more sensation, length, and stretch throughout both sides of your neck. And coming out of that, let's meet up in extended child's pose, bringing your knees out wide toward the edges of your mat. If you want, using your bolster to, prop up on, like so. You could also use your bolster behind your knees. So you kind of sit. This is nice if you have like two bolsters or another stack of something else here, or if you want to just come to the forearms. So trying a couple options if you want to, and then settling your way in to a child's pose of your choosing. If you are deciding to turn your head in one direction, I will let you know about halfway through when it's time to switch to the other side. We won't be in this one very long. And if your head was turned to one side, go ahead and turn it to the other side. And starting to consider coming back up. We can use the prop in our next pose as well if we want to. We're gonna start to come to the belly, so I recommend coming to your belly first before using the prop. Gonna just come up to baby cobra a couple of times, warming up the back side of the body. You can lift and lower a couple of times. Warming up through the spine, lifting, baby cobra, and then exhale, lowering. You can continue in this flowing movement, or you might find your way to Sphinx pose, bringing the forearms to the mat. You could try bringing your bolster beneath the rib cage here, and then just getting, a little help being propped up. I think it feels quite nice to have this supported Sphinx pose. And in our Sphinx pose, we kind of want to be pulling the chest, pulling the collarbones through. We're kind of puffing up through the chest. So that kind of feels right to me, puffing up like that. And then check in with the back of your neck. Right now, I'm cranking my neck just to hold it up. So let's find a more neutral neck position. So looking down to some degree, just so it feels like your head is aligned, the continuation of your spine, and not so much of a, big fold in the back of your neck. So I'm looking almost right between my hands. That feels about right. So pressing in the tops of your feet a little bit here, if you're feeling anything through the low back. Just one more nice deep breath here. All right. Let's start to press up, back to tabletop. We'll find a downward facing dog here next. Grabbing your blocks if you have them handy and you like to use them. We'll bring those up to the top underneath the hands, curling your toes under. Let's start to straighten or almost straighten the legs. Continuing the flow of your breath here. And then maybe bending and straightening opposite knees a few times. Maybe bending and straightening your elbows a couple times. At some point, inhaling as you lift up to the tippy toes. And then exhale as you lower your heels toward the floor. Let's do that a couple times. Inhaling as you lift to the tippy toes. And exhale as you lower. Last time like that. Start to bend both knees and then walk your hands to the back of your mat. So you end up in a forward fold near the back. Let's have a nice deep bend in the knees. You might even grab your bolster or pillow and place it between your thighs and your torso. And let your ragdoll forward fold be a little more supported. This, to me, just like stretches my low and mid back in such a nice way. You can bend a little deeper into the knees or go a little bit straighter through the knees. Maybe swaying a little bit side to side. You might let your head nod yes and shake your head no. In your own timing, start to rise up to stand, just letting your props move to the side. Eventually, when you're standing up, just go ahead and shake it out a little bit if that feels good to you. Maybe a little twist. You could shake out one leg and the other, one arm and then the other. And lift and lower the heels a couple of times as you swing your arms. We'll get a little bit of blood flowing here. Let's inhale and reach the hands up and overhead, nice and tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing the hands up to the thighs, creating a 90-degree angle with the back. Exhale, lower back down, bending your knees a bit more. Press your feet into the ground as you rise up, inhaling as you join your hands overhead. Exhale, bring your hands down to heart center at the center of your chest. Inhale, reaching high again. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, bending your knees extra. Stamping your feet into the mat. Inhale, rise back up. Joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, hands reach high. Exhale, circle, sweep the arms around and down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold with a deep knee bend. Inhale, rise all the way back up, hands reaching together overhead. And exhale, hands come down to heart center. Take a moment. Remember your intention if you set one here today. Notice if you have any areas that feel spacious in your body or your mind or your spirit. Taking a moment to notice if you feel any restriction throughout your body, mind, or spirit. Trying not to judge right or wrong, good or bad. We're just noticing what is, how things are right now. Let's focus for a moment here on something that does feel expansive. Let's send a little gratitude to that expansiveness. Back to any area that you feel restriction. Let's send a few breaths to those areas. Seeing if we can breathe some new life, some new space in, even just a little bit. Eventually, let's take a big inhale, reaching hands overhead, maybe out wide. Exhale with a sigh, let your hands come down. We'll head down to the floor. Make your way on down. Keep your props close by as you head to your back. Feel free to pull your knees in toward your chest when you arrive or as you go. Let's take a little bit of free movement here, rocking and rolling a little bit of weight and massaging pressure around the low back, the sacrum, pelvis, the hips, the glutes. There's so much going on right here, isn't there? And we're just tuning into sensation more so than the movement itself. And we'll lower the feet to the floor, to the mat. Make sure your props are close by. We'll press the arms down into either side. Let's do mountain or bridge pose rather. With your inhale, pressing down through the feet, through the arms as you lift the hip points high and tuck your chin toward your chest as you rise up. Exhale with control, lowering back down. Let's tune into the inner workings of this movement. A few more rounds. Inhaling up to bridge pose. And exhaling to lower. Next time you are lifted into bridge pose, let's slide our bolster or a block or whatever you got underneath your low back and then lower on down. So we're in a supported low bridge. You don't want to be up too high. We want to be relaxed here without too much of an incline or down towards your head. Your arms could go out to the sides. Another option would be to bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees go out wide. Make sure your knees then would be supported by blocks or more props so that you can relax there without any fear that you're going too far. Let your arms, your hands find their own way, their own place to be. As you breathe, see if you can tune into any flow of energy through your body when we're in this pose. Are there any sensations that you can follow or breathe along with for the next few moments? And you are welcome to stay right here if this feels like a restful position to stay in. If you want to, you could head into more of a classic final rest position, maybe similar to how we began today with the bolster beneath the knees. Or maybe just lying flat on the mat without any props could feel nice. So as you're ready, helping the knees back up to center, taking any movements or stretches in between as you transition to your final resting pose. Pressing up through the hips, just enough to slide your props out from underneath you or right on down to the knees. And again, if there are any last movements here or stretches, move through those. Whew. Relaxing your eyes. Finding your way closer and closer to a sense of ease and rest. Softening your jaw. Letting your shoulders feel grounded. Maybe even slightly heavy as they soften into the mat. Just for now, no work to be done, no thoughts that have to be thought. No thinking that must be done, just for now. Savoring rest, savoring the sensation of ease, if you can create it. Any breath could be a pathway back into this flow of soft awareness, back into the flow of ease, just for now. please feel free to stay here and continue resting as long as you can. When you are ready, let's start reawakening the body with some gentle movement, wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe yawning or stretching. And eventually choosing a side and rolling to the fetal position. Maybe just for one more breath. And go ahead and press your way up to a comfortable seat. We will join hands here together at heart center, sitting up nice and tall, lengthening upward through the crown of your head. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and be free. And may our own thoughts, words, and actions somehow contribute to that happiness and freedom for all. Bringing thumbs up to third eye center now. Let's seal in our class with a little bow forward now.